The start of the trial against Fox News on claims of defamation by a voting tech company has been delayed by a day, according to the judge overseeing the case on Sunday. Judge Eric Davis did not provide a reason for the postponement, which came just hours before opening statements were due to begin on Monday. But according to a Reuters source, the media giant is pursuing settlement talks with Dominion Voting Systems. The US-based company is suing Fox for $1.6 billion over allegations that it knowingly or recklessly disregarded the truth. It accuses Fox of ruining its reputation by airing baseless claims about its voting machines that it knew were false, that they secretly flipped votes in favor of Democrat Joe Biden and against Republican Donald Trump. An expert report commissioned by Dominion attributed scores of lost contracts to Fox's coverage, though much of the report remains under seal. Fox has said the damages sought are unrealistic and based on flawed economic modelling. It also alleges that Dominion's lawsuit is a threat to press freedom. The trial, now due to start on Tuesday, is one of the most closely watched US defamation cases in years. Rupert Murdoch is set to testify along with several Fox executives and on-air hosts. Dominion and Fox declined to comment on the delay.
A shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party in Alabama on Saturday left at least 4 people dead and more than 20 others injured. It's the latest in a series of recent high-profile shootings in the U.S. South, including killings in Tennessee and Kentucky. On Saturday, in the Alabama town of Dadeville, shots were heard inside a dance studio shortly after 10:30 at night as the birthday celebration was underway. Officials said Sunday there was no longer any threat to the community, but did not say whether a suspect has been killed or arrested. There was also no official word on any shooter's motive. Residents gathered on Sunday evening near the crime scene for a prayer vigil. Fred Hutcherson is a local pastor.
To my young people out there, I want you to know that you are not going through this by yourself, that we are here for you no matter what time of day it is. You have heard me say it when I've come over to the school that I love you. And this shows you that it is not only me, but each and every one of us that is surrounding you that loves you.
Officials said counseling would be provided at schools in the area on Monday. President Joe Biden said in a statement on Sunday, quote, "Guns are the leading killer of children in America," and "What has our nation come to when children cannot attend a birthday party without fear?" Biden also urged Congress to tighten the country's gun control laws, saying it was within their power to do so.
After a day of tense fighting, Sudan's army appeared to make strides Sunday against a deadly power struggle with rival paramilitary forces blasting their bases with airstrikes. Dozens of civilians have been killed in the clashes, including 3 UN workers. Fire and plumes of black smoke could be seen across Khartoum's skyline. Satellite images showed airplanes burning at Khartoum International Airport, as well as fires near a hospital. Both sides agreed to a 3-hour humanitarian pause, a deal suggested by the United Nations. While firing appeared initially to subside, a Reuters witness said heavy bombardments took place shortly afterwards. Gunfire could also be heard in the capital. Sudan's former Prime Minister, Abdallah Hamdok, called for an immediate ceasefire, allowing for a humanitarian corridor. Doctors' unions had said earlier it was difficult for medics and the sick to get to and from hospitals. The violence, which began Saturday, was sparked by a disagreement over the integration of the RSF into the military as part of a transition towards civilian rule. It is the first such outbreak since 2019, when both groups joined forces to oust veteran Islamist autocrat Omar al-Bashir. The United States, China, Russia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the UN Security Council, European Union, and African Union have appealed for a quick end to the hostilities. They say the fighting threatens to worsen instability in an already volatile wider region.
Poland and Hungary have banned imports of grain and other foods from Ukraine to protect their farmers. A European Commission spokesperson on Sunday condemned the, quote, unacceptable unilateral actions on trade by the two member states. Russia's invasion of Ukraine last year blocked some Black Sea ports, leaving large quantities of Ukrainian grain, which is cheaper than that produced in the European Union, in Central European states due to logistical bottlenecks. That knocked prices and sales for local farmers, angering Poland's ruling Law and Justice Party, which has a big rural support base, in an election year. The Polish ban, which came into effect on Saturday evening, will also apply to the transit of these products through the country, the Development and Technology Minister said on Sunday. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán's government followed suit, but did not say when its ban would come into effect. Kiev said the Polish ban contradicted bilateral agreements and called for talks to settle the issue. Ukraine exports most of its agricultural goods, especially grain, via its Black Sea ports, which were unblocked in July under an agreement between Ukraine, Turkey, Russia and the United Nations. G7 ministers have set big new targets for solar power and offshore wind. Climate and energy ministers agreed on Sunday to speed up both developing clean energy and phasing out fossil fuels after 2 days of talks in the Japanese city of Sapporo. Renewable fuel sources and energy security have taken on a new urgency following the Ukraine war. But the climate and energy ministers stopped short of agreeing a 2030 deadline to phase out coal, which Canada and other members had pushed for. And they left the door open for continuing to invest in gas, saying it could help ease energy shortfalls. Japan's Trade and Industry Minister Yasutoshi Nishimura.
今回の G7 大臣会合におきましては
In the G7 meeting, we acknowledged that different countries around the world have various economic and energy situations, and the path to carbon neutrality by 2050 should be diverse.
カーボンニュートラル2050年
The important thing is to aim towards net zero, our common goal, and that was recognized.
を確認することができたというふうに思っております。
The G7 communique pledged to collectively increase offshore wind capacity by 150 gigawatts by 2030 and solar capacity to more than 1 terawatt, which they called a drastic rise in clean power. They agreed to accelerate phasing out unabated fossil fuels. That is, the burning of fossil fuels without using technology to capture the resulting CO2 emissions. That would achieve net zero in energy systems by 2050 at the latest, the ministers said, promising concrete and timely steps towards scrapping coal. Canada said unabated coal-fired power should be phased out by 2030, and Ottawa, Britain and some other G7 members committed to that date, Canada's Minister of Natural Resources Jonathan Wilkinson told Reuters. Additional plastic pollution should be cut to zero by 2040, they said, bringing the target forward by a decade.